Today, we are diving into a really dramatic story that absolutely rocked investors. It's about the sudden, shocking crash of the South Indian Bank stock. But here's the thing. This isn't really a story about bad finances. Nope. This is a story about the incredible power of a single leader and what happens when the market gets absolutely gripped by fear. Okay, let's just jump right in with the big number, minus 18%. Can you imagine waking up to that? Your investment just gone, down by almost a fifth overnight. For anyone holding South Indian Bank stock, that was the brutal reality one morning, a number that just sent total panic through the market. And to put that into perspective for you, this wasn't just, a bad day at the office. This was the bank's single worst day in almost a decade. It was a massive sell-off that just vaporized a huge chunk of the company's value in a few short hours. And this is where the story gets super interesting, because this crash, it didn't come after some terrible earnings report or a big scandal. Actually, it happened right after some incredibly positive news. So what on earth was going on? This is the real head-scratcher. Look, on one hand, the bank's business was absolutely booming. Profits up 9% from the year before. And the stock, it had given investors almost 100% returns in the past year. I mean, everything was pointing straight up. And yet, on the other hand, bam, a sudden 18% crash. It just doesn't add up, right? So the answer wasn't hiding somewhere in a spreadsheet. This wasn't about the numbers at all. The entire market panic, that huge sell-off, all that fear, it all boiled down to just one single, completely unexpected announcement. And there it is. That's the trigger. The bank announced that its MD and CEO, P.R. Seshadri, had decided he wasn't going to stick around after his term was up. The official reason was personal. But you know what? For the market, the why didn't really matter as much as the what. The captain was planning to leave the ship. So who exactly is this guy, P.R. Seshadri? Well, he was the leader everyone pointed to for the bank's incredible turnaround. For investors, he was the face of success. He was the architect of the strategy that had basically doubled their money. All of their confidence was built on his leadership. And this really gets to the heart of it. The bank's fundamentals were solid. Profits were growing. So why in the world would the departure of just one person cause a complete and total market meltdown like this? It all comes down to the psychology of fear. First, you have the loss of a proven winner. The guy investors saw is the reason for their gains. His leaving immediately creates this vacuum of uncertainty. Who's going to lead the bank now? And that question breeds a powerful fear of the unknown. Will the new person keep the same winning strategy? That fear leads directly to the sell-off. Investors figured, hey, I'd rather cash out my huge profits now than risk whatever comes next. Now, it's also really important to get this. This news didn't just drop out of a clear blue sky. It landed smack in the middle of an already stormy, nervous market. People were already on edge. Think of it like this. The wider market was already a smoldering fire. The CEO's announcement, that was just like pouring gasoline all over it. It was the perfect catalyst to turn that general background anxiety into a full-blown 5-alarm panic for this one particular stock. So what happened next is that investors basically split into two camps. On one side, you had the short-term panic crowd. They were thinking, the leader's gone, I'm selling now, get me out of here. But on the other side, you had folks with a more long-term view. They're looking at the bank's solid financials and asking, hang on, what if the next CEO is just as good or even better? Isn't this huge price drop just a massive overreaction? So here's how fast this all went down. On January 15th, you get great news. Profits are up. Just 2 weeks later, on the 29th, the board finds out the CEO is leaving. The very next day, that news goes public, and the stock just implodes. And get this, all of this is happening months before his term is even over in September. It just shows you how fast market sentiment can flip. And that leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? The whole South Indian Bank saga really forces us to ask, when the market panics over a star leader leaving, is it seeing a real crisis coming? Or is it just creating a massive, undervalued opportunity for anyone brave enough to look past the immediate fear? That right there is the decision every investor has to make for themselves.